Hey trappers, Dale Billingsley here, Billingsley Brand Lures. Guys, today is just kind of a day. What I'm doing today is starting to go through traps. You know, we finally got through all the conventions that we're going to this year. Got that all out of the way. September was really busy for us. You know, we had 5 conventions, 5 weekends in a row, and didn't leave a whole lot of time for anything else except just getting ready for the next one. So, but that's all over with now. We're ready to start working on stuff, get traps ready to go, and get things going, which should have already been done. But man, we were so busy this summer with conventions, and then of course, in the heat and the season of suck and all that, you just don't feel like doing a whole lot right then. But now we've got a little reprieve of it here, and it's kind of cooled off a little today, and so we're just kind of getting things going here. So stay with me. I'll just show you what I'm doing. Like I said, it isn't a whole lot today, but we'll get right at it. All right, guys, you can see we've got a pretty good stack of traps here in this tub. There's some more back there behind that one too as well, and then we've got a whole bunch of them in the shed. So we're just kind of going through things here. Show you kind of what I'm doing. It isn't much. Just take traps from last year and make sure you're checking over your cable stakes real well. Make sure the cable's in good shape. I've got a few here that I've taken off that, due to age as well as high alkaline soil down south and that buckshot, you can see that's never going to hold anything, so we had to take it off. And the ends are still good. Your ends are still fine. All you got to do is replace the cable on them, and you're right back in business again. So, but just make sure they're in good shape. Make sure the swivels are all clean. There's no grass, no mud, no nothing like that build up. Make sure your pans are still paying attention to where you want it, which on my number 11s, I don't want any other than what there is when the trap is set. Clean out the grass and junk in between the jaws. Just make sure you get them cleaned up good. And then we're just throwing them in the back of the truck. And I'll take them to the car wash here in a bit and wash them up and show you all that process as well. And a whole lot. I mean, it's a pretty simple deal. You put 250 in the machine, water comes out the hose, spray them down. That's pretty much about it. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it here. So on your water stuff, if you come across a trap like this, it's still good paint. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's made a catch or two, but the paint's still good on it. That trap is still protected just fine. Really nothing to do to it. Make sure the tags are good. Your tags, if you have a tagging requirement, is okay. And swivels are clean, jaws are clean, everything like that. Just lay it off to the side. And that's just one less you don't have to worry about. You don't have to take care of. A lot of times these old double jaws, a bunch of mud and dirt and stuff will get packed up into these. You want to make sure have a flat screwdriver with you that you can clean out the majority of it. A power washer will take care of the rest of it, but as they're stacked in the truck, a lot of times they don't all get it. They don't all get to it the way they should. So, just make sure you've got a flat screwdriver out and you can clean out the inside of that, and then you can clean out in here too if it needs it, so that it's taken care of and you don't have to worry about any of that. Couple little tips here. You can see this cable. I mean, it's rusted, but if you look and if you just give it a little bend, it's got see, you can start to see it's breaking right there. It's got scale rust on it. That needs replaced. You can't trust that, so don't even think about it. Just take it off. Cable's cheap, guys, and it's way cheaper than losing a trap. The other thing I want to caution you on, these totes, these plastic totes are great to store traps in. But through the summertime, you need to make sure that you've got that lid raised up just a little bit, because those things will draw humidity, they'll draw condensation, and they will literally eat traps up if that condensation gets in there and it gets a bunch of scale rust on them, that kind of stuff. If you're seeing that, you need to crack that lid just a little bit to let that air come in and out and let that humidity and let that moisture out. And then if you've got a bunch of traps that have got a bunch of scale rust on them, you probably should consider boiling them traps to get that scale rust off of them, or even clean them up in a vinegar water 50-50 solution, and then rinse them off with baking soda water to neutralize that vinegar so that it doesn't continue to cause a bunch of rust for you. Just little things like that. I mean, like I said, it isn't anything earth shattering or anything, but it's you know, maybe there's some new trappers out there, younger trappers that don't know these things, and I don't want them to learn the hard way like we've had to. Okay, so here's another deal, guys. Now, this was not opened by an animal. I just opened that to take an old disposable off of it, but because of the rust, because of the humidity and what happened throughout the summer, it weakened that steel to the point where it's no good. So make sure you check it when you're checking things over. Just make sure you're checking everything to make sure that everything is in tip-top shape. That right there could have been a huge no-no, and it could have cost a lot of, you know, could have cost a trap, could have cost an animal, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So just make sure that you're checking things over really well. Okay, so here's what I was talking about that heat and humidity and stuff, guys, and then your containers drawing moisture. I can guarantee you that these two traps have never been set, never been in the ground, but they were stored in a closed up tub over a period of a summer, and this is what happened to them. So, like I said, just make sure that when you're storing them in a plastic tote, something like that sort that's going to draw moisture, crack that lid. I can't stress that enough, because now I've just made a bunch of work for myself that I didn't have to. So anyway, just be aware of what can happen. Now I'll show you something else. These traps were stored in the exact same tote. These traps are still on wires, so that means they've never been set yet. Look at these traps. They're rusted up bad. Still in the same tote. These traps still got paint on them, look fine. You know, they're good to go. So that's what I'm saying. You've got to go through, you've got to check everything. You can't just assume that everything's always going to be okay. Alright guys, so now we've got our traps all painted or all washed, and we've got them bundled up. I've got them laying down here on the ground. They're all bundled up in bundles of 6 to a bundle, wired up. I want to talk to you a little bit about the paint we use and the thinner, okay? Because this is very important, and I get questions about this all the time. This is a Rust-Oleum high performance protective paint. That seems to work the best. Any enamel paint will work. Okay, you can go buy implement paint from tractor store, you know, any enamel paint, oil-based enamel paint, anything will work. I prefer the Rust-Oleum over the rest of it. This happens to be a smoke gray color. Color doesn't much matter to me. I mean, especially if I'm painting predator traps, because they're under 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of dirt anyway. Who cares? Okay, they can be, you know, hot pink, fire engine red, shit knuckle brown, doesn't matter. All right. Water traps, yes, I try to get them a little dark. Same with conibears, I like to get them a little dark. And then those I want to come back over with like a hunter green and a quackgrass brown to kind of break up the outline a little more. But it's really, again, it's not that important. So this is a smoke gray, and I got 2 quarts of flat black to mix. I'm gonna mix 1 quart in with it, see what color we end up with, and go from there. The thinner, mineral spirits, okay, that's what I'm using is a low odor, fast drying mineral spirits. Now you got to be careful, because there's a mineral spirit replacement out there that absolutely sucks. Okay, it doesn't want to mix well. It takes forever for it to dry. It's terrible, absolutely terrible to use. Use and buy, spend the money, and get the actual mineral spirits. You will be a whole lot happier when the time comes. All right, so that's just something. I mix it 50-50. Now this is going to be a little bit heavier because I have to add a quart to this gray to darken it up a little bit. But generally speaking, a 50-50 mix. If I got a gallon of paint, I got a gallon of thinner. That's just what I want. You can go a little heavier with paint if you choose. You can go a little lighter or a little heavier with the thinner. That's entirely up to you and what you need, as far as what you need for your circumstances, your trap line. This is just what works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up, and then we'll take a look at it, and we'll get back at it here. All right, so you can see there we've got a really nice kind of a dark gray colored paint. It's not going to hurt anything. In fact, I think it's going to blend in just fine. If I don't like it when after it dries, I can always, go back over it with something else. It doesn't matter. All I'm doing is trying to protect the steel. I don't care about anything else really. Something that kind of helps match and blend in wherever you're trapping. But other than that, more importantly, I'm just trying to blend in or try to protect the steel. That's, these are tools, and we have to take care of our tools. So that's my main objective right there. All right, so we've got our paint. We've got cardboard down here on the ground under our drying rack here. This thing, I can hang about 15, maybe 20 dozen traps on here at a time. This whole rack's been around a long time, and it's served its purpose well. So the next thing we do is just take the traps, dip them in the bucket. Hold on, because I think that's going to be all right. Let them drip here just a little bit. Hang them on the rack. Half a dozen at a time seems to work just about right in this bucket. That's basically all there is to it, guys. I'll go ahead and go through these. I've got, I don't know, got about 12 dozen of them there to go through right quick, but it won't take me long here, and I'll show you the finished product. We're about halfway through when we're done. All right, gang, it took me about 20 minutes there, and I just painted 15 dozen traps. So as you can see, I mean, it doesn't take long. And yes, I know I've heard it all that you can't hang them like this after they're painted because they won't dry. And I'm here to tell you that in about 2.5 hours, they'll be dry and odor free. In fact, you can even do coyote traps like this. And in about 3 hours, you can go put them in the ground and catch coyotes with them. And I've also heard, everything about, guys like the nostalgia of boiling and dyeing and waxing traps. And that's great. That is absolutely fantastic. And I'm not saying that I don't. But there's 15 dozen of them done in 20 minutes. And I've still got that many more of those 220s I've got to do that I've got to put stands on yet and paint them. I've still got this pile of scrap iron to go through. I've got another pile back there to go through. I've got more in the shed to go through. I don't have time to boil, dye, and wax. This is what works for me. Hopefully, if some of you choose to use it, it'll work for you as well. So, all right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and end this video here. I sure appreciate you tuning in to watch, and if you would, please just hit that thumbs up for me. But before we leave, one thing I do want to tell y'all is that, we're rapidly approaching the end of October, 1st of November. And as most of you know that have been around this channel for very long, come the end of October, I'm done shipping orders. So you're going to have to get it, if you want bait and lure, things like that, you're going to have to get them through Cumberland's Northwest Trapper Supply, Coon Creek Outdoor, or Coon Creek Trappers 2.0, or Tombstone Feeders down in Mississippi. So, Coon Creek is in Ohio, Cumberland's is in Minnesota. So you'll have to get it through one of them because I'm busy trapping and I don't have time to ship orders then. Plus the fact of me being out of state, I can't just take everything with me down there. So anyway, as always, until next time, this is Dale Billingsley signing out.